Welcome to a new update. Today we're going to discuss my portfolio, and there's lots of questions regarding my crypto portfolio, and I thought why not share a little bit about that today. But before that, do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the YouTube update if you enjoy the content, and don't forget to check out my website, which is in the description beneath, where you can see the entire portfolio that I have, but also where I take profits, how I take profits, how I manage my portfolio, and alongside that we've got fundamental reports, educational content, live streams, we've got trade IDs from the team, and we're standing by in which we assist you during the entire crypto journey that you're going to have. So let's get to a few of the charts, but before we're going to do that, I want to stretch a few topics. First of all, my portfolio consists of a few different things. One is I've got a long-term portfolio, which is an investment portfolio, and I'm not really trading that at all. Investment portfolio is for the long-term horizon, meaning that I'm not seeking for short-term gains, but I'm seeking for long-term, profits and just keeping my wealth at a certain standard. Especially when you're growing your account, at some point it's not about making more money, but it's about defending the money that you have so you can keep on the lifestyle that you want to have. Inside that long-term investment portfolio, which is the vast majority of my portfolio, it consists of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I've got Polkadot there as well. In that investment portfolio, I'm looking at multiple staking opportunities, and I'm going to grow that heavily in the coming period, as if you time the markets well and you switch between different staking strategies, you can make a very big sum of money. That's the same as in real estate. If you buy one property, you can make money by keeping that house, by gaining wealth or gaining profits on the actual value of that property. But by renting it out, you can make an interest. So you can do the exact same within crypto. If you have a certain asset or certain altcoin and you stake that one and you want to keep that for the long term, you can compound your profits. But at some point you want to go back towards stable currencies, in which you can still make that staking and that passive income, but you keep your position at that point in time. So you keep the value that you have with your portfolio. As there are two different important topics. It's passive income and it's wealth. And having 5 million but no income, and you're going to increase your liquidity or you're going to increase your expenses to 30k a month, you're eating your own wealth. So if you have 5 million and you're making 50k a month, let's just make that assumption, you can have a certain lifestyle. So in my long-term investment portfolio, I've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, and for staking right now, I still have my Veracity. I'm also looking at some stable coins that I'm currently staking to gain some momentum on that. Then the second portfolio I have is a trading portfolio, which is minority of the entire portfolio that I have in crypto. I also have different assets outside of crypto. And in that trading portfolio, I always have liquidity. Next to liquidity, I do have Bitcoin, also for balancing it out, and to have liquidity, but just to have flexibility in the trading that I do. And then most of my trading portfolio consists of Ethereum. That's the biggest position that I have. The biggest portion of my portfolio is inside Ethereum, Polkadot, and Cardano, and Atom, as those are platforms, layer ones. Layer ones are heavily needed if you want to succeed in these markets. If you don't have a working layer one, it doesn't make sense to invest on a layer two on that exact same project. So that's a portion of my portfolio. And then when we're looking at the rest of the portfolio, I would like to take you towards some charts that we have here, as those are just describing the opportunities that we have. If we think about the fact that Bitcoin could run to like 200k, 300k, and Ethereum might be copy-pasting the run of Bitcoin in 2017, we could arguably say that altcoins are still in for 10x to 100x movements. However, if you want to have a certain altcoin like that in your portfolio, you can't take 50% of your portfolio in such a small altcoin. That's just a very high risk you shouldn't be taking at all. you can allocate like 5 to 10% of your trading portfolio to an altcoin, and that is fine. If it makes a 10x, great. But if it loses 90% of your value, you don't have too much of a downwards risk on the portfolio in itself. So when we look at the rest of the portfolio, and I'm going to share some more coins that I have, one of them is the DeFi section, in which I currently have a position in Curve. Curve is one of those altcoins that has not been running at all, and it's still heating up for a big breakout. If I see a chart like this, especially with the fact that Curve was heavily inflationary in the beginning, and they decreased that significantly in the past period, but it has been inflationary. Right now it's heating up for a big breakout in which critical levels are holding. So if we see this entire structure, the chances of this breaking out heavily are significant, in which the next targets are most likely $7.5 to $11. Especially when we look at the Bitcoin pair of Curve, it is just a big accumulation period here, in which we're still moving sideways before the big expansion is going to happen. I think that if you're looking at the Bollinger Bands here, we can see some nice squeezes, in which this is going to end up in a fast and big breakout, just like it has been doing earlier in the year. Another coin that I have is layer 2s, and especially ones that are for scaling solutions at this point. One of them is Skill. Skill is making a nice accumulation period here after retesting this entire region, in which a breakout out of this compression is going to bring this one up heavily too. If this is going to break to the upside, I'm not surprised if we run all the way back towards 1500 sats with Skill. So I've got DeFi, I've got layer 2s, I've got layer 1s, and in DeFi I also still have Swipe. I also have Skill, right? I've got Sealer, and I've got another altcoin category that has not been moving heavily lately, which is the Oracle section. And you've been asking me a lot, what about DIA? When is it going to move? Well, I still have it. I've got crushed in May on my position in DIA, but we were able to accumulate a bit more, meaning that when it goes back to the all-time high, I'll be in heavier profit, or at least in profit, instead of being at break even. So DIA is still heavily on the list, because oracles are heavily needed if you look at the entire DeFi decentralized blockchain future. Oracles, especially with the data that they gather, are needed for the markets, so I'm still invested in those, and not only in DIA. DIA at this point, when we look at the Bitcoin pair for instance, gives you a copy paste of Curve, and especially if you watch the update from yesterday regarding Dino coins, the vast majority of the Bitcoin values of altcoins are still on the ground. So right now I've given you an insight in my portfolio. I've got an investment portfolio, I've got a trading portfolio, which you can classify as a swing trade portfolio, which I TP once in a while at certain levels, rebalance my portfolio, and when the market is overheated, I'll swap back towards USDT and Bitcoin. If you want to trade alongside me with that portfolio, and you want to know where to buy and how to buy and where to sell that one, check out the group in the description beneath, as that's where I share everything that I do and the rest of the coins that I have. There's also another portion that is just day trading and gambling. That is what I do on futures. We also have trade IDs in the group that I just copy paste as trade myself. That's the day trade portion, but that's just a tiny portion of my entire portfolio. 70% is in investment, 25% is in trading, around that percentage, 5% is in day trading, gambling, gems, all that stuff. But as you might know, my account is quite big, so I'm not really the one to start sharing gems at this point anymore, because I don't want to influence the prices at all. But that is my portfolio at this point. I will be diving into this on a monthly basis, where I'll just be sharing my view on the markets and what I want to do with my portfolio. I hope you have enjoyed this update. Don't forget to subscribe beneath, like the YouTube update, and I'll see you again tomorrow.